Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing with the Dalek build from Hachette Partworks. We have the next 4 issues here, so without any further ado, let's get these opened and start assembly. So here we have the magazines out of the packaging, and with the completion of issue 34 we will essentially be a quarter of the way through this build, if you can believe it. Let's take a quick look at the contents of the magazines and let's get down to assembly. So we get issue 31, which has a look at Children of the Revolution as part of Adventures in Time and Space. This was a Doctor Who comic in Doctor Who magazine featuring the 8th Doctor. We then have the Time Vortex looking at Enemies of the Daleks with Absalom Dak, another comic book character from Doctor Who magazine. We then get our partwork bits. Issue 32 will give us a look at Adventures in Time and Space with Energy of the Daleks, which is one of Big Finish's 4th Doctor audio adventures. Time Vortex gives us the 8th Doctor versus the Daleks with a look at his various encounters from audio to books and comics. And then we get our partworks. Part 33, we actually get an insert this time before our contents. Adventures in Time and Space gives us a look at the Planetary Factor, which is one of the Dalek comics from TV 21. Then the Time Vortex looks at the Cult of Skaro from the series before our assembly build. And then last we will have issue 34, which looks at part 6 of Genesis of the Daleks and Adventures in Time and Space. Anatomy of the Dalek in Dalek Mutant. Anatomy of the Dalek looks at the Dalek Mutant itself from Stenagos, and then we get our build. So there we have the magazines. Let's put those to one side and let's get to assembling. So I'm going to bring the camera around, bring in our piece from last month, and then issue 31 is the first one of this month. Have those open. Oh, we get loads of little bits in here, so let's move that up one, let's move that, let's bring in our magazine, I'll put that to one side. Okay, so with issue 31 we should get our side frame, so it looks like we will be repeating the process from last month on the opposite side this month. So this was a simple enough build. So we get our 2 pieces there. We get our piece here. We get a bunch of FP screws. There. There's one already tucked inside as well. Ooh. FP screws there. And AP screws. Just put those to one side. Like that. And then we get our mesh frame. Okay, so first up is fitting part C. That is going to be, that's part D, so it wants us to fit part C. And that will fit down the middle here, supposedly. This is possibly one way around. No, will only fit in one direction. There we go, that fits in like that. Then we need our FP screws, get these fitted. Looks like it might fit a little better. Yep, that's better. So it's fitted nicely. Move that to one side for a second. Then we get the D frame. This slides in and slots into place like so, with the central frame coming over the top. Like so. And then our AP screws will fit this into place. Hold it. Two. Bind it. Three to rhyme it. Four to align it. 5 to mime it. I don't know what I'm doing here, I'm just talking to myself. And 6 and I'm out of ideas. Okay, with that done, we then need to unspool our wire, and in much the same fashion as last month, let that drop down and flow through. There we go. My masking tape from last month, and we will then stick this down in much the same fashion as the last one. Hang on. There it is. Nice and taut. There we go. Run this down the centre, and this up the top, and again just take this under so that it's secure until we actually need to fit it. that. Then we have our mesh frame, and we have our mesh to plug in, which just goes over like so and clips into place nice and securely. And then we have a bunch of AP screws. I missed it. I did, didn't I? Completely forgot those. That's fine. Take that off, and we missed the screws which come down here. Easy fix. Easy, easy fix. There we go. And 3. There we go. There we go. Get rid of the excess screws. Toss that away. Slot that back into position. And that is that. We can then move on to issue 32. Let's open and take a look. That doesn't need. Issue 32. This. So first up. Bronze lines. We have some JP screws. Tuck those to one side. Let's open those. Open that. And we have the Photosonic screen grid, which then comes and fits over like so. Then we need to take our bronze points, and with them facing that way, we just need to fit this into place like so, he said. Come on. That's it. Let's take our first screw. And screw that into place. One. Two. And one more. Oh. Do the same again. I had this problem last time where this kept pushing itself forward because of the way this was screwed in. It's fine because once we get one in, they all line up. Let's unscrew these. This will make it a little bit easier. a little bit easier, I'll take one of those. Last one. One, two, three. Make sure those are tightened. One, two, three. Then we have two screw covers which are going to cover these 2 points here. We'll slide and push nice and firmly into place. Same the other side. Those two done. And then we are on to part 33. Which will give us a couple more of the brackets. Deflector strips as they are referred to in here. Deflector strip there. And our screws. So first thing we need to do is fit these two halves together. They should just line up with the pegs and connect together nice and secure like so. Then this is going to go on the top one and should align nicely with our other one. Case of making sure everything pops in nice and secure like. Then we need to those fixed in. Take our two screws. One. One. And two. There we go. That's nice and secure. Then the covers go on with a nice firm click. So, get rid of our spare screw, get rid of our packaging, and then we can move on to issue 34, which is our final issue for this month. And there we have issue 34. And it looks like we are essentially repeating the process for the 2. Whole host of FP screws. Those. Whole host of JP screws, which are these ones. JP screws. And then final brackets. Okay, so we have got 2, which are all different sizes. That's useful. Okay, so that one, which is going to be B and A, and then the 2 C's. So first off is taking B and A and fitting them in the same way we did the last one. He says we can line them up. No. It is... Okay. Fit that one. Fit. Yeah, okay, so it's a little awkward telling the sizes on each of them. However, this one's numbered to 2 and this is a 2. So they should fit together. You won't be able to line this bit up with the other 2 because of the size of them, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's just trying to make sure you pick up the right one to stop faffing about more than anything else. This will fit into the midway point in the same way our other one did, and with that fitted in, we will be taking 2 of our FP screws and securing them all nice and fashionable like. One. And 2. Those nice and fitted. We just need to put on our brackets, frames, screw covers, whatever you want to call them. 1, 2. There we go, that's that nice and fitted. Then we will be fitting our final 2 ones at the bottom and screwing those into place in the same fashion. So this comes down and clips over, so you can see it's like going flush with the rest of this. I'll do both sides while we actually let's do one at a time so we don't mess this up. Get 2 of those. 1, 2. So, same again. There it is. That one, for some reason, took a little bit of finagling. That's that. And screw you in. Same again. Ask us to plug in the covers. Then and then to make sure everything's nice and fitted, we will be putting the rest of the screws on the bottom here. So nice and simple. One. One. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2 or the 4 outer edges and then work inwards. You're going to probably want to put some pressure behind it to make sure it doesn't push away as you're screwing it in. It shouldn't do, but you don't want to take that hassle. The screw does not want to stay in. Same again, this side. And another one at the top. Another one at the top. Then we can work our way around. Should be a total of 14 screws that we will be fitting. 7 on each. And I must say, I'm always quite impressed at how much progress just 4 issues alone always seem to make. One thing I do seem to quite like is the fact that, you know, essentially, parts are almost broken up into 4 to 8 stages. I mean, the assembly of this section of the neck piece has taken the last 8 issues. So it's been quite nice to be able to sort of know what's coming and know that within sort of a month or 2 there'll be another big chunk of this assembled. That's been a really nice little touch. When I was doing the Power Ranger Megazord from Fan Home. That was always constantly broken up and sort of jumping over the place. It felt, you know, one handful of issues you'd do the Saber-Tooth Tiger, and then the next handful of issues you'd do the T-Rex or whatever, and then you'd be left with just kind of something that would look like half a shell. Obviously this still looks like a shell and things, but you can see how things are coming together. And you feel that you've got a chunk of something. And there we have the last screw for this issue, and we are at the quarter-way stage of this build. This is coming along so nicely. I'm loving every minute of this. As always, we can now take a look at what comes next. So there we have issue 35, and with part 35, the first part of the base plate. 2 skirt holders, a pedestal holder, and 2 pedestal adapters, along with fixing screws. So it looks like we're going to be jumping down to the bottom of our Dalek next and starting a build upwards. So they're going to be interesting to see how the skirt comes together. Is it going to be a skirt? I wonder if they're I don't know if they class that as part of the skirt or if they're counting that as the skirt. But either way, it's definitely another exciting step. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, freedom is a right, not a privilege.